Welcome to the legendary tale of how I got lost in the forest, hunting for mushrooms. Not those kind of mushrooms. Have you ever heard of a morel mushroom? I'm going to see if I can put a picture on this video somehow just to give you an idea, but it's sort of this whimsical looking mushroom. As far as I know, it's considered a delicacy. You can only find it in certain areas. They only grow for about a 2-week span. If you don't find them in that time, you're out of luck till the next year. I don't even like mushrooms. This is what makes this story even crazier, was that at the time, I didn't like mushrooms at all. But I did know that my boyfriend really did, especially morels. I had heard him tell stories about them before. So I heard these girls talking at work. They were sharing places that they know in the area. I went home, told my boyfriend, I said, hey, guess what? I got some intel on the mushrooms. I said, you should go and see if you can find some. He somehow convinces me to go with him too. People gatekeep where you can find morel mushrooms just because they are difficult to find, and I guess people just don't want to share where they find. It's like their favorite fishing hole, you just don't share that stuff. I do have to back up. It's one of those Tarantino style stories where I'm going to circle back to the beginning. Let's say this is like a year prior to this. I was working in a law office. I was a law clerk on one side of a cubicle in an office, and my friend Sandra was on the other side of the cubicle. We shared the office. We'd talk all the time about our lives and what was going on and what we did on the weekend, that kind of thing. For a while, Sandra was sharing with me she has this boyfriend named Tom, and Tom bought a house, and Tom built a cedar deck, and Tom got these maroon curtains for his front bay windows, and Tom has a blue Ford truck. Tom lives in blah 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 place. All of this information I'm sort of like gathering over time, probably the better part of a year. Now I'll go back to like present tense. Boyfriend convinces me to go morel picking. And it's a beautiful sunny day. It's May. There's no snow. Spring has sprung. That's, I guess, perfect conditions for a morel hunter. I'm in the forest with my knife. It's probably not proper morel hunting tools, but that's what I had. A knife and a bag, and I was ready. He shows me what the morels look like. There's also a very poisonous kind of mushroom that looks similar, but not the same. So he showed me those. I knew not to pick those. We hit the mother lode. We found so many morel mushrooms, it was almost hard to carry the bags. That's how much we had. Get home, and he cooks up this steak dinner. After we cleaned all the mushrooms, he fries them up in garlic butter. I don't even like mushrooms. I don't even like regular mushrooms. I ate these mushrooms, and I wanted more. They were so delicious. I guess that's how he convinced me to go out for a second day. So the next day we wake up, and he's like, I'm going back. I can't sleep knowing there's more. Are you coming or not? So I'm like, sure, why not? Off I go again. This day's not quite so nice as the day before. It's cloudy, kind of looks like it's gonna rain, but we were just like, whatever, we'll go until we don't want to anymore. I don't know how it is where everybody else lives in Ontario, where I'm from. There's basically like concessions. So you've got this like long road, it's a country road, but let's just say concession 10, and then there's however many kilometers between the next concession. Concession 11, blah, blah, blah. So we park on concession 10 and we head into the forest. There's like houses around scattered, but they're not close together. They're just sort of like here and there. I don't know if you've ever just gone into the forest. Once you get in deep enough, you really lose track of where the road is, unless you can hear it. If it's a busy road, that's one thing, but a country road where there's just a car now and then, you really kind of lose direction as to where you are. And I am hopeless, geographically challenged to the max. I don't know what business I thought I had being in the forest. There were a lot of trilliums, which is Ontario's flower, by the way. I would notice that if there was trilliums and if there was a log, sometimes if there was that deer stuff, it looks like a corn on the cob. People are gonna laugh at me, but anyways, there was a couple of telling features of the forest. More often than not, that's where I would find a morel. So you're bending down, you're slicing it, which I don't think is the proper way to do it, so don't come at me, I just didn't know. But slice it, put it in the bag, move on. And so as you're kind of doing that, you're walking further this way and that way. After a certain amount of time, my boyfriend was like, hey, I'm done. We have a lot of mushrooms. We couldn't possibly eat them all. And so I'm going back to the vehicle. And I was like, okay, I'm right behind you. And I was right behind him, sort of. But I kept on seeing mushrooms on my way out. As I thought that I was following him, I would bend down and kind of gather a few. But then the next thing you know, I look around and he's nowhere in sight. And I've kind of gotten turned around. I don't know how many times I've went this way or that way. And so now I really have no idea where I am. And I'm calling for him and he's not hearing me. That's when it sort of started to get serious. I kept walking in the direction that I thought I should go. But the problem, as I said earlier, I am geographically challenged. So really what I should have done was gone the opposite way of where I thought I should go. We parked on a concession and walked in. So I walked straight as I could, thinking, well, eventually I'll hit one of the concessions, either the one that we parked on or the one just over from it. But I didn't. So now I'm, again, starting to panic. It's starting to, not panic. Yeah, I was panicking. I wasn't like crying or anything. And I was also mad. I was like, he knows I'm not Little Miss Country Girl. How come he's not coming in looking for me? He's not calling my name, nothing, right? And I'm really in a pretty wooded area. I mean, there definitely would be bears. There definitely would be all sorts of unsavory things in there. And so my mind starts playing tricks on me and I'm hearing things and I'm just getting like madder and madder. And what am I going to do to get out of it? I see a house. I don't know. Have you ever like approached a house and you just don't get a good vibe? I don't know. It sort of had a horror movie. Probably didn't really, but just in the moment, it did. I'm not really at that stage of fear yet where I'm going to go to that house for help. I'm going to keep going and just hope that if there's that house there, maybe there's a couple of other houses close by. After probably an hour of walking, I got to a road. I just thought, you know what, I'm going to follow this road and the house that I see, I'm going to it. I'm ready. I'm ready for this day to be over. And so I kind of peeked the top of this hill. I see this little community of houses. There was a bunch of them. And I see this one house. It's got a cedar deck, blue Ford truck in the driveway. And hey, Sandra mentioned that Tom lives in this area and there's this house and it's got a cedar deck. And so I started, coming around the corner. I think those are maroon curtains too. Like maybe that's Tom's house. And even if it's not Tom's house, I don't even care. I'm knocking on the door. I'm kind of drenched at this point. It's not pouring rain, but it's like this like drizzle. But I've been in it for a while now, so I'm drenched. I've got a knife and a bag of mushrooms, and I knock on the door. Could it really be his house? I mean, how crazy would that be? I also didn't care if it was his house or not, too. I wanted it to be his house, but I also was like, I really don't care whose house this is. Please don't be Buffalo Bill's house. To knock on the door and to see a familiar face. I had met Tom by that time. I had met him once or twice when he came to pick up Sandra. He knew who I was. I knew who he was, at least. And so he answers the door, and man, was I ever happy to see Tom. With a frying pan in his hand, he's making Sunday breakfast for Sandra. He's literally got like bacon in the pan, and he answers the door, and I just like, Sandra comes around from behind him and she's like, what are you doing here? I had to tell them this story I'm telling you, basically tried to sum up as best I could. And they're like, come on in, have breakfast. And I'm just so rattled at this point. Can you please just give me a ride back to concession, blah, blah, blah. I'm sure my boyfriend's worried about me. And I really just, would you mind giving me a ride back? So I didn't even really fully know how to direct him back to where my vehicle was, but somehow we found it. My boyfriend was not in the vehicle at the time. Okay, well, I'll just wait here. I'm sure he'll come back eventually. Tom waited with me, and a little bit of time goes by, and out of the forest appears my boyfriend with handfuls of mushrooms. I guess what happened was he realized that I got lost, and he did go back to look for me. I'll give him that. He too also was like finding them along the path, so he was like, well, I'm here, I might as well collect them. I do remember Sandra saying, I can't believe you found Tom's house in the middle of blah 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 park. You remembered all the details of all the things that I've ever told you. How did you remember all those things? And I'm like, I don't know. And she was just, you do listen to my stories, and you do listen to all the things. And I was, well, yeah, I do. And I'm really freaking glad I did, because I'd still probably be in that forest right now. This is before the era of looking on the snap map and finding my way out. This was 2001 or something like that. I've heard people say that when the leaves of an oak tree are the size of a squirrel's ear, that's the time that you go and you look for morels. No idea if that is accurate or true.